Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. This is WireDogSec back with another video for you guys. Today's video, we're going to cover some of the cyber news headlines and see what's going on in the cyber trenches. The first one up is going to be about this F5 dumpster fire, fiasco, hack, whatever you want to call it. But before we dive into it, be sure to like, comment, subscribe, share the video, and let's go ahead and dive into it. First article here is from Believe in Computer. F5 says hackers stole undisclosed big IP flaws, source code. Let's see what they're cooking with here. U.S. cybersecurity company F5's disclosed that nation-state hackers breached its systems, stole undisclosed big IP security vulnerabilities and source code. It says first became aware of the breach August 9, 2025, with the investigation revealing that attackers had gained long-term access to its systems, including the company's big IP product development environment engineering knowledge management platform. F5 is a Fortune 500 tech giant specializing in cybersecurity, cloud management, and application delivery networking. 22,000 customers, 170 countries, 48 of the Fortune 50 entities use its products, so that's something to note there. Big IPs firms flash the product used for application delivery and traffic management by many large enterprises, no supply chain risk. It's unclear how long the hackers maintain access, but the company confirmed that they stole source code, vulnerability data, and some configuration and implementation details for a limited number of customers. I've followed the story since this first article had released on the 15th. They're very hush hush on the details because the United States government they're working with them on that. So there's like little to no IOCs basically of what's coming out here. Maybe they'll have more news this week about this whole fiasco dumpster fire going on with it. But as you can see, Big IP is well known in the industry. It's used by 48 of 50 Fortune 50 entities. So yeah, a lot of organizations use this product apparently. It says through this access, certain files were extracted, some of which contained certain portions of the company's big IP source code and information about undisclosed vulnerabilities that's working on. Despite this critical exposure, undisclosed flaws, F5 said there's no evidence that the attackers leveraged the information in actual attacks, such as exploiting the undisclosed flaws against systems. The company also states that it has not seen evidence that the private information has been disclosed. So I'm wondering what they are doing with this information. My guess is that this is a state-sponsored hacker group sponsored by China. It had to be China or Russia. I mean, just judging off of this MO here, I was leaning more towards China, right? I think a lot of people were leaning towards China as well. I think there's a finger pointing as well as a particular Chinese threat actor group. So we'll get to that in a moment. Initially dropped, I right away I was like, okay, this has to be Russia or China. I mean, because they're in their system for a long time. It doesn't state it in this article here, but I've been seeing other reports about like at least a year or more. So maybe if you have this product, maybe you need to go back that far and check for anything suspicious. But like I said, they're hush hush on the details. Maybe there'll be some more released this year or this week. Sorry. It says F5 claims that threat actors accessed the big IP environment, but did not compromise its software supply chain or result in any suspicious code modifications. So that's good to note there. I guess a lot of times if the threat actors get into something like this, they'll go in and try to put backdoors into particular products or whatever. But they have this source code, right? And those vulnerabilities that weren't released. I think that F5 released patches to those vulnerabilities as well, so people can get stuff patched in time before stuff starts getting exploited. So this includes its information that contain customer data, CRM, blah 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 blah. All right. Response to the breach: after disclosing or discovering the intrusion, F5 took a remediation action by tightening access to its systems and improving its overall threat modeling, detection, and response capabilities. They got into their systems to begin with. Is it from phishing or some other vulnerability they're able to exploit? We'll probably never know. It says rotated credentials, strengthened access controls, deployed improved inventory and patch management automation, blah, blah, blah. Implemented enhancements, hardened our product development environment, including strengthening security controls and monitoring of all software development. Some of this, I mean, a lot of this sounds like, cybersecurity best practices, which I constantly preach on here, right? So maybe their actors took advantage of something that was lacking and obviously got into their systems for a long time. Additionally, the company also focuses on the security of its product through source code reviews and security assessments with the support of NCC Group and IO Active. It says the NCC Group's assessment covers security reviews of critical software components and big IP and portions of the development pipeline, an effort that involves 76 consultants. Customers should take action. F5 is still reviewing which customers had their configuration or implementation details stolen and will contact them with guidance. help customers secure their F5 environments against risk stemming from the breach. The company released updates for Big IP, F5 OS, Big IP Next for Kubernetes, Big IQ, and APM client. So if you're affected, I recommend paying attention to the vendor's guidance and following that guidance to the T, right? Despite any evidence of undisclosed critical or remote code execution vulnerabilities, the company urges customers to prioritize installing the new Big IP software update. So there you go there. If you're affected by this, follow the guidance from the vendor to try to keep your environment as secure as you can. Who knows what these threat actors are going to be doing with that stuff that was stolen from it. F5 confirmed that today's updates addresses the potential impact stemming from the stolen undisclosed vulnerabilities. Furthermore, F5's support makes available a threat hunting guide for customers to improve detection and monitoring their environment. So there you go. You have a threat hunting guide to look for things. The new best practices for hardening F5 systems now include automated checks to the F5 iHealth diagnostic tool, which can flag security risk, vulnerabilities, prioritize actions, and provide remediation guidance. Okay, let's see here. I think that's pretty much the gist of this here. It says on September 12, 2025, the U.S. Department of Justice determined that a delay in public disclosure was warranted pursuant to Item 1.05C of Form 8K. F5 is now filing this report in a timely manner, explains F5. So they got authorization from the U.S. Department of Justice to delay this because, I mean, there is like strict requirements in regards to filing this for like 8Ks and such for publicly traded companies. F5 states that the incident has no material impact on its operations. All services remain available and are considered safe based on the latest available evidence. Okay, so we're done with this article here. Here's another one that came out later on the same day. F5 releases big IP patches for stolen security vulnerabilities. As we just briefly saw there in that article here, I mean, this is just going to assume and talk about those vulnerabilities. So today, F5 has issued patches to address 44 vulnerabilities, including the ones stolen in the breach, and urge customers to update their systems as soon as possible. F5 confirmed to Bleeping Computer that today's security updates do address impact from the incident. And there's the information again of what products have these patches available for them. No evidence of modification to our supply chain, yada, yada, yada. Federal agencies ordered to deploy big IP patches, shocker there. CISA, of course, made a mandate for federal agencies to patch. It says install the latest F5 patch of October 22nd. So if you're part of that group, there you go there. I'm sure you're well aware of what's going on there. But I think due to the gravity of the situation, threat actors are in there for a long time, probably about at least a year, right? And who knows what else was going on. And I'm wondering what the threat actors tend to do with that stolen source code and whatnot. Maybe they were able to catch them and disrupted the final parts of their hacking or whatnot. I'm not sure. It says successful exploitation of vulnerable big IP appliances can allow attackers to steal credentials and API keys, move laterally within target networks, and steal sensitive data and establish persistence on compromised devices. As big IP vulnerabilities are high-value targets for both nation-state and cybercrime threat groups, which have been exploiting them over the years to map internal servers, stealthily steal data, hijack devices on victims' network, push data wipers, and breach corporate networks. So there you go. Top target for threat actors and cyber criminals, big IP. Okay, so let's see this next article here. Over 266,000 F5 big IP instances exposed to remote attacks. Shocker there. This is from Shadow Server Foundation, found these particular instances on the internet. So this is something else to take into consideration. Does your product need to be facing the public internet? And if it does, can it be locked down? Can it be limited? Can it be restricted? Can you reduce that attack surface, right? Does it need to be open to the entire internet so anyone can just get in there and start poking and prodding around, try to break into your systems? Take that into consideration. It goes back to cybersecurity best practices. So we're just going to skim through this article here. It just reiterates what happened, right? And then it says F5 has been sharing a threat hunting guide with customers that mentions the Brickstorm malware. So go ahead and check that out. Maybe we'll ask Copilot here in a second about this Brickstorm malware. It says a Go-based backdoor spotted by Google in April 2024 during an investigation into attacks orchestrated by the UNC 5291 China's Nexus threat group. F5 also told customers that the threat actors were active in the company's network for at least a year. So there you go. It says previously linked to exploiting the Vanti 0 days. So they've been around for a while, looks like, and they're involved in all kinds of hacking and data breaches and whatnot here. It says this week CISA issued emergency directive, which we just read about in that previous blog or article there. All right, so I think that's the gist of this one here. Make sure to patch your stuff. If you got stuff exposed to the internet and it doesn't need to be sure to lock that down. Okay. And this last one is just basically talking about some data breach in regards to this Prosper Market. Data breach affects 17.6 million individuals. Holy crap. Hey everybody, this is WireDogSec. Just a quick reminder to subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell. Once you hit the notification bell, be sure to set to all notifications so you know every time I post to the channel, upload a video, all that good stuff. Let's continue to grow our glorious community here. We are in the cyber trenches. We're not just reporting on it. Be sure to check out my channel as well. I have tons of videos that you can see here, over 300 videos ready for you to check out and learn something from. Be sure to review my posts. I'm frequently posting new things to my channel here, including jobs and everything related to that. Also, I have tons of playlists here that you can review, make it more convenient for you. Anyway, happy defending, happy hacking, enjoy the video. Breach notification service details peer-to-peer lending marketplace victim count. So let's see what they're talking about here. Says they stole personal information pertaining to more than 17 million individuals. A copy of stolen data has been obtained by Have I Been Pwned. A free breach notification service shows that hackers obtained 17.6 million unique mail addresses. Interesting there. Exposed data includes a customer's or prospective customer's name, date of birth, contact information including physical and email address, social security numbers, as well as details of an individual's credit status, employment, and income. So, yeah, obviously this information can be used for fraudulent activity, identity theft, things of that nature. Okay. I don't think it goes into any details here of how they actually broke into it, you know, but this just goes over what this company does. It says there is no evidence of unauthorized access to customer accounts and funds, and our customer-facing operations continue to be uninterrupted. The company said in its first and latest breach notification published September 17th, we continuously monitor accounts and have strong safeguards in place to protect us or protect customer funds. Following the breach, the customer or the company said it was implementing additional security controls and safeguards, including more robust monitoring and security alerting. Says the breach notification informed both customers and prospective customers. We have evidence that confidential proprietary personal information, including social security numbers, were obtained, including through unauthorized queries made on company databases that store customer information and applicant data. So if you're affected by this breach, just watch out. I know there's a lot of credit monitoring services and whatnot that you can utilize. Okay, I mean, these breaches have been coming like they're basically commonplace. Even this F5 one. Okay, there's gonna be something bigger and better that overshadows this F5 data breach, whatever that's been going on, and people just move on to the next thing that comes across. That's the thing with these data breaches. They happen so much that they lose some impact when it comes to actually staying in people's minds and whatnot, right? So like just think about like a Target, Home Depot stuff that happened, years ago, Equifax, remember those? Who's talking about those these days? And those companies appear to be doing fine, right? They didn't go under the water, they didn't go bankrupt or anything like that. Definitely something to take note of. Just be aware that these data breaches happen so much, so often that people just become, just they don't really care about it as much as time progresses, and these companies aren't going bankrupt anytime soon. I think F5 stock took like a 10% dump, but I'm sure it'll recover sooner than later, right? So anyway, let's go over to Copilot here and ask it some questions here. Let's see here. Let's see here. You're a Actually, let's do this here. We'll set the latest. Okay, let's see what Copilot says. All right, F5. Network suffered a major breach by Chinese-linked hackers who affiliated or infiltrated systems from late 2023 until August 2025. Wow. Okay, that is a long time. And they provided some sources here that you can check out as well. Okay, they're talking about Brickstorm as we mentioned earlier. So let's copy this, get this ready to go here. But you can see we're utilizing Copilot, and I'm sure you can use other AI chatbots and other AI tools to get you information relatively quickly. And also, it has sources here. If it doesn't have sources, I would highly recommend asking the chatbot to provide sources so you can cross-reference and whatnot. Because sometimes it can hallucinate and give you incorrect information. But as you can see here, the information seems to be pretty good as just a snapshot, right? Entry point, and we have persistence stuff here, data exfiltrated, source code, configuration data, details on unpatched systems. Here's the impact and fallout, okay? Response and mitigations, other information here. So let's see here. See, tell me more about Brickstorm. See what's going on here. So we wrote, what is Brickstorm? There you go. APT malware attribution tied to Chinese espionage group. There's a name here. UNC 5221. Purposes, enable stealthy, long-term access, yada, yada, yada. Technical characteristics, persistence, modular design, targets, detection evasion, role in F5 breach. So there you go there. A lot of good information here. If you want to know more about a particular threat actor, what tools they use, instead of just doing, endless queries on Google or whatever search engine you use, you can probably utilize AI to get something faster. And there's my verified sources here. All right. And let's see this last one here. Okay, so let's see what Copilot says about this here. All right, so it gives you details about this particular threat actor group. Okay, origin, motivation, targets. So there you go. Talking about targets, government, defensive agencies, critical infrastructure, legal and tech sectors, VPN appliances, and edge devices. So there you go. Once again, there's the TTPs listed here. Malware use talks about Brickstorm. Persistence gives you dwell time here in months to over a year. Recommended defensive countermeasures, patch management, network segmentation, behavior detection, threat intelligence integration. Once again, this goes back to cybersecurity best practices and whatnot. Okay, so there's nothing new under the sun. It appears here. Incident response readiness, tabletop exercises, maintain offline backups, forensic logging, etc., etc. That's the thing, right? People focus a lot on prevention. So what happens if prevention fails? Well, you're gonna have to do incident response activities. I highly stress incident response. Okay, knowing what to do, knowing who to contact, having that stuff squared away in case you get punched in the mouth, because a breach is probably going to happen to your organization one day. All right, and you need to be prepared for it. But as you can see here, you can use Copilot, whatever chatbot you choose, and also you may get different results than what I got here. Okay, this is just a quick and dirty method of getting some information about this particular F5 dumpster fire that's going on, and then asking information about this particular threat actor group, and then also the type of malware that's in use, and also provide sources so you can look for yourself. Okay. As always, if you're using these AI tools, be sure to double check information you get, do a QA on it, quality assurance on it. Okay, don't just accept everything that's in here. That's why you need a human in the loop to review what AI is telling you. You don't end up like some of these organizations out here that just use AI, right, and then they get the results back, and further on down the road, they'll determine like, okay, this wasn't accurate information. This was hallucinations. And if they had done their due diligence or QA on it, they could have quickly found that and then corrected the report or information that came out of this AI. So don't just go in blindly use AI. Don't use AI like a script kiddie would. Okay, know the that's how I stress knowing the importance of IT fundamentals, cybersecurity fundamentals, and whatnot, so that if something sounds funky inside of AI, you can go and do some further digging or ask AI to fix the inaccurate information or use the verified sources that you can reference yourself. Anyway, if you enjoyed this video, be sure to like, comment, share, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell so you know every time I post to the channel. As always, thank you for taking the time to watch the video. Have a nice day, and I will see you in the next one.